Hello to everybody in 8th grade and all those who might be watching, like parents or younger siblings who are sharing your iPad. Good morning, good evening, whenever you're watching this. I hope that you are staying safe from the coronavirus. Mr. Cherry just waved at me. All the teachers are here recording our lessons, and we are happy to put them online for you. And I hope that you enjoy this just like you would a regular lesson in class. We're going to go through these notes together. As usual, your section reviews will be due like they normally would in class. I just like them on a regular sheet of paper, stapled and given back to me. You can do it all on the same sheet of paper or on different pieces of paper. That's up to you. I sent home your test. Your test is open book, and the notes you're going to fill out in these YouTube lessons. So, let's get to it. You may already have this slide, but I'm going to go through it anyways, just to make sure that you have everything. The first thing is a space shuttle. It's a spacecraft designed to be reused. The International Space Station, a multinational space station, is accessible through what is called the Soyuz, a fleet of Russian spacecraft. So you actually, if you want to go to the ISS, have to go to Russia to take one of their space shuttles. NASA plans by 2020, well, it is 2020, their plans might be delayed because of the coronavirus, but they would love to have a lunar space station, possibly a manned mission to Mars. That seems kind of far out, but with our new Space Force, maybe not. So I guess we're going to have to see. Let's see. Ooh, there it is. You may remember that a satellite is any object that orbits a larger object. Slowly traveling satellites will have a very elliptical orbit, with the highest point known as an apogee and the lowest a perigee. So you can see here on the Earth how the moon is sometimes pretty close to Earth, 362,000 kilometers away, sometimes very far away. The moon's orbit is elliptical, it's not a perfect circle. Now this is exaggerated. But sometimes the moon, you look up in the sky, it looks really close, and you're like, hey, is it going to hit us? That's probably because the moon is at perigee, and sometimes the moon appears very small in the sky. Sometimes it has to do with its face, but a lot of times it's because it is at its apogee. Speaking of the moon, make sure you are working on your moon project and that you submit it electronically or you submit it in your weekly packets. There are several special orbits. You have geostationary, where these things seemingly stay in the same place in the sky. Is that Mr. Merrill? Mr. Merrill singing in the hallway. You also have sun synchronous, where they seem to stay in the same place related to the sun. And a transfer orbit allows a satellite to be moved. So let's say you're watching your Scooby-Doo on Dish Network, right? Because everyone's staying home. And the Dish Network satellite gets kind of swung out of orbit. It's a little staticky. And you're like, hey, that's not good. They can actually move those satellites to be away from any solar flares that might happen or any other adverse event. GPS, Global Positioning System, directs people around. You obviously know what a GPS is. You probably have had your parents use one when driving. Hopefully you haven't used one when driving. Military satellites can photograph or spy on our enemies. So you see a Blackbird spy plane. They are meant to be cloaked in the sky, have some really detailed photography, whereby we spy on our enemies in the Middle East in particular. Space probe is an unmanned spacecraft to explore the unknown. So if you were to want to explore Neptune, for instance, you won't want to send a human. First of all, it would take decades to get out there. And by the time you get out there, a person would probably be out of food. So you'd send a probe. And this probe, you wouldn't need to get back. It's just a hunk of metal. But this metal is transmitting a whole bunch of information. In fact, we have a probe that is currently around Pluto. And we sent it out about 10 to 12 years ago. And it's still giving us pictures. And the amazing thing about it is that it sends us pictures through waves that it sends back to the Earth. And the waves themselves are traveling very, very quickly, and yet they still take 2 years to get back to the Earth. So it's still transmitting data, but it could have died 2 years ago, and we would never know. Not until we stop receiving waves will we know that it has died or crashed, that probe. Deep space. In order to adequately get away from the Earth, a probe must hit the escape velocity. The Earth's gravity is quite strong, so if it doesn't hit the escape velocity, it will be sucked back into the Earth, and that would not be very good. I was just saying, I think 30 years ago is a little high, but probes sent out a while ago are hitting the outermost parts of our planet. That's a little bit outdated data on this slide. Hopefully they will continue to send us information as they go into deep space. And this here, with the section reviews being bonus, unfortunately is a lie made years ago. But section review 11.3 was homework for Monday, and section review 11.4 numbers 1 through 5 is your work today. Alright, I hope you have a good Tuesday or whenever you're watching this video, and your test is coming soon. Be ready.